Alright, what's up, guys? I hope you're all doing well today. And in this episode of Cartoon's podcast, I'll not be doing the podcast, rather, I'll be taking you guys behind the scene of what happens before we come to the final product, which is doing the podcast. Actually, two guys have asked me, and I believe they're filmmakers or they're just enthusiasts, Apart from liking the bike content, they are also interested in knowing what the hell do I do to get this setup going. And thank you so much for your compliments saying the setup is really nice. So I'm doing this for you guys and any other person who's really interested in watching. So first of all, we do our podcast at the Black Rose Chendro. This is a garage where they get to fix bikes, cars. It's also a carpentry shop. The founder is actually more of a DIY guy and he's really deep into these creative things when it comes to fixing stuff. So it's located at the Modaiga North. This is where we do our podcast. We have a partnership with Black Rose Chendro. They allow us to use their space and it's been nice ever since. So the first thing when we arrive, we pretty much offload everything from the car. Sometimes I use my bike, sometimes I don't get to use my bike. We have two cameras, two stands, the tripod stands. We have the light, and the light that we use, you can pretty much use any kind of light you want, but for us we use the SL200. The SL200 with a softbox that's about 105 centimeters wide. This one gives us the wide aspect, where we can get the light travels and in the surrounding where we're doing the podcast. It's actually not this Godox light, for instance. It's quite old. I've had it for I think 7 years now, and it's been quite helpful in my filmmaking career. And the softbox is actually new. This is a quick fix compared to the previous one that we used to have. It could take us about 30 minutes to do a proper setup, but with this one you just plug it in like that and you fix it on top of you rig it on the light and you're good to go. We had to get rid of the other one. This one is looking pretty nice. We love it so much, and we were using it for the first time actually today, and it was really amazing. That right there is my assistant. His name is Charles. He's actually the director of the show. He tells when to start and when to stop and what to do. He decides where the camera goes, the setup goes. He gets to do some other logistical stuff. We had a little problem with this softbox because when we fixed it, there was this plate-like thing that we decided to put in the middle, so we were not sure what this is for. So sometime later, I decided to call a professional, a photographer who uses this, the guy who recommended me to have this instead because it's the new thing. So I asked him a few questions if we needed something. We'll get back to that later. About the setup, by the way, guys have been asking that bike. And I believe for those who've been asking, maybe they're not in the bike scene a lot, or they are actually not in the bike scene at all. They just like the bike stuff and the podcast. So the bike that I use is Oyaya's bike. It's not my bike, as much as some of you keep asking me, can you pillion me on that bike? Actually, it's a dream bike, so I'm currently owning it in my dreams. So soon enough I'll be owning it. That's the bike we use, and these are some of the trophies that Oyaya has won during his race days. He used to have a racing team called the Black Rose Racing Team. The racing team is still in existence. A little bit relaxed now. I don't know what's happening. He'll be telling us one of these days when I invite him again to the podcast. He'll be talking about that. That bike is a GS1200. It's the one I prefer to sit on, and sometimes I call the guests to come with their bikes. If not, we get to sit on chairs. But recently I decided to come with my bike because we're just trying to avoid sitting on chairs because actually this setup actually was inspired by Sir Bigman. Sir Bigman is the chairman of TRNK, the Tekaro Nyumbakumi Republic. Actually, he came to the podcast and he asked me, why are we sitting on chairs? And we are bikers. We need to do our podcast on bikes because we are bikers. And he gave me this setup, and ever since then people liked it, and that's what we've been doing. So I decided to be sitting on Oyaya's bike because I love it like that. Hang around with our specific spectators who are very much limited. They help us in making noise when we invite a guest, and the guest gets to give pointers, and they agree or disagree. Yeah, so check these guys out. Let me guys show you. We try to make a V kind of shape for the podcast, because it's a conversation, it's more of like a dialogue. It's not an interview. We don't like calling it an interview. We don't like doing it journalistic as well. So we try to put the bikes to be in a V shape, whereby when I'm sitting, I'm facing the guest, and the guest is also facing me, the host, and then we get to discuss, we get to pick a story, we get to ask each other questions, elaboration and everything. I think it's more of a friendly setup where everyone feels comfortable and you don't feel interrogated, especially when I'm sitting opposite you and then we're on chairs. It looks too formal, but this one it just shows, nothing serious, we're just talking about bikes, even though bike stuff is serious. So we put up the V shape, and I had a little bit of a problem with my number plate, and I promised to fix it for me. He did me that favor, though the favor does not come free of charge, because he is offering his services, part of his job actually. So he fixed my number plate, and he's mostly assisted by his son. His son is Kim, as you can see him there. Kim actually takes after his father in almost everything, from the looks to the DIYs, professionalism, and pretty much everything. Their services are good every time I come here. So our guest arrived. Our guest today is Kyle, and we had to talk a little bit of 1-2, and so remember guys, when I was telling you that I don't understand this softbox, because there was a plate like kind of a thing where I think we fixed it, and so I had to confirm from a professional. He's a photographer, his name is Thins. I had to ask him if really this is important, because I don't think I was getting it. So I tried to show him, and he told me it's not necessary, you can remove that thing on the background, you don't need it. And as usual, if you're in a garage, you'll have bike conversations a little bit. Kim here was trying to tell me that the steering damper is not supposed to be shaky, and I kind of disagreed, and we had a discussion, and we figured out, it's supposed to be a little bit shaky. We'll be talking about steering damper sometime later. So a little bit of sound check, which is very important. It's very important to do a sound check once the guest arrives, and then you can go on to complete your setup. And once you're done with that, everything is set. It helps a lot, to avoid light, sound issues and everything. It saves you big time. Now, this is exactly how we do our setup, and the show goes on. So anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you've now seen how the setup goes. It does not take a long time. Driving from my place to Wayaya is about 5 minutes, because we're just like neighbors. We're not too far off from each other. If there's no traffic, it will take 5 minutes. If there's traffic, I'll think around 10 to 15 minutes. Though we're never late, we're always on time.
I land. Okay, I'm not land, but I hear.
We invite guests, they come, we do the podcast, we talk about bike stuff, bike related things, and after that we are done, and we get to upload, and then this is the end product that you get to see. So I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you now know how this goes on. It's pretty much a lot of work, but with the commitment and the passion, you can get to achieve almost anything that you want. So once again, thank you so much for watching, thank you so much for your time, and if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please feel free to do so. We are looking for subscribers, we are looking for more fans, we are looking for bike fanatics. If you like bike stuff, if you like bike conversations, and if you have any questions you would like to know for clarity purposes, especially bike related, if you have a guest in mind that you think we should invite, please let us know. Even though we have some criteria for us to invite a guest, we'll still check that guy out, check that person out, and then see if he fits. Actually, it's not too much, it's not complicated, but we always try to see, are you the type of a guy who can give us stories? Also, are you the type of a guy who knows exactly what you're talking about when it comes to bike related stuff? We try to keep it bike related, nothing personal. We don't talk about personal life issues unless if you want to talk about it, but bike stuff and bike stuff all along. So thank you so much guys for watching. I'll be seeing you in the next episodes that will be airing now for this new season. Bye bye.